today's headlines. 57% of Filipinos say their life got worse. U.S. panel recommends Pfizer Covid vaccine for younger children. Department of Energy pushes for Malampaya exploration. Non-jeepney drivers excluded from 1 billion pesos aid. Philippine National Police braces for in-person pilot classes. Major changes in 2022 polls. Cebu City minors now allowed out. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is October 27, 2021, and these are the latest news this Wednesday morning. At least 57% of Filipinos said their quality of life got worse, while 13% claimed it got better, and 29% was the same, according to the latest survey of the Social Weather Stations, or SWS. The SWS said that the survey conducted from 12 to 16 of September 2021 also showed that the net gainer score is at -44, classified as extremely low. The September 2021 net gainer score is 13 points down from the very low -31 in June 2021, arresting the recovery from the catastrophic -76 in September 2020 to extremely low -48 in November 2020 and very low -38 in May 2021, SWS said. According to them, the survey questioned on the respondents' assessment of their change in quality of life in the past 12 months has been fielded 142 times since April 1983. It said the third quarter survey used face-to-face interviews of 1,200 adults nationwide, 300 each in Metro Manila, Balance Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. A medical panel of U.S. government advisors endorsed the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine in 5 to 11-year-olds Tuesday, paving the way for younger children to get their shots within weeks. The independent experts concluded the known benefits, both directly to kids' health but also in ending school and other disruptions, outweighed the known risks. After a day of presentations and debate, the final vote was 17 in favor and 1 abstention. The Food and Drug Administration, which convened the meeting, is expected to give its formal green light soon, making 28 million young Americans eligible for the shot by mid-November. Earlier, top FDA vaccine scientist Peter Marks said younger children were far from being spared from harm of COVID-19, adding that in this group there has been 1.9 million infections and 8,300 hospitalizations, roughly a third of which required intensive care. There have also been around 100 deaths, making it a top 10 leading cause of death, he added. An analysis by Pfizer posted by the FDA before the meeting showed the vaccine was 90.7% effective at preventing symptomatic COVID-19. FDA scientist Hong Yang presented a risk-benefit model that showed at current infection rates, the vaccine would prevent far more hospitalizations from COVID than they might cause from myocarditis. In its clinical trial, Pfizer evaluated safety data from a total of 3,000 vaccinated participants, with the most common side effects mild or moderate, including injection site pain, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, and chills. There were no cases of myocarditis or pericarditis or inflammation around the heart, but experts agreed there were not enough study to volunteers to be able to detect highly rare side effects. The Department of Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi said they are pushing for exploration of the Malampaya gas field to prolong its life by drilling wells. Philippines is vulnerable when it comes to energy security because we are import dependent on energy except for our indigenous sources like the Malampaya gas field in West Philippine Sea, as well as geothermal plants, hydrosolar, and other renewable sources.
Sa ngayon, ang ating sa ating total energy sources, mga 50% already is indigenous, no. dito na sa atin yon. And around 40%, around 50% is imported. Ito yung ini-import nating langis or oil and also coal. No? Sa ngayon, ang ating sa sources,
according to CUSI, they are creating an environment where the private sector can invest and participate in this endeavor to tap indigenous sources.
Sabi nga po ni Pangulong Duterte na dyan sa West Philippine Sea, dapat i-harness natin ang resources dyan para magamit na ng ating mga kababayan para makaginhawa sa pamumuhay natin. At yan po naman ang ginagawa natin. At alam po naman ninyo na bago dumating itong administrasyon na ito, tumigil po ang exploration dyan. Dahil nga po sa conflict with China. And before us, nawala na po yung mga exploration na yan. Ngayon, nilift po natin ang moratorium that was unilaterally previously enforced by our government. No? So dito po sa panahon ng ating Pangulong Duterte, nilift po natin yan at ino-open po natin. At nag-invite nga po tayo ng mga foreign and local investors to come in dito sa sa exploration projects natin. At may mga pumasok nga po. At sabi ko nga po na previously reported, meron na po tayong 4 na nakapending na po. Duterte, nandiyan sa West
30% of our energy comes from Malampaya, and with our resources depleting, DOE will continue operating our LNG power plants. Since 2017, they have 5 projects that are ongoing to make their aspiration of making the Philippines the LNG hub of our region realized. Tribune News on Q will be back after these short reminders.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelovelo, Comfy Manalo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Jerk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube. Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board on Tuesday clarified that only jeepney drivers will receive fuel cash subsidy from the government amid a spike in pump prices. The biggest percentage of the cash assistance goes to public utility jeepneys. They run on specific routes. Because of this, they have bigger ridership and the demand is predictable because they have bigger capacity, LTFRB Chair Martin Delgra told reporters in a press conference. While the Congress has yet to act on the proposed amendment of oil deregulation law to cushion the economic impact of the oil price hike, the Development Budget Coordination Committee, or DBCC, has moved to release 1 billion pesos in financial assistance to public utility vehicle drivers affected by the spike in pump prices. In a statement, the DBCC said the cash grant for 178,000 recipients will be distributed through the Pantawid Pasada program in the remaining months of the year. The fund will be sourced from the under-programmed appropriations under the 2021 national budget for support for infrastructure projects and social programs. To provide economic relief to drivers and operators, transport groups have been appealing for around 2 pesos to 3 pesos increase in jeepney fares. National Police Chief General Guillermo Eleazar directed concerned ground commanders to coordinate security matters with local education authorities ahead of the pilot run of face-to-face classes in selected schools across the country. The police force is ready to guarantee the safety of everyone, not only against COVID but also against other threats to both teachers and students, Eleazar said. Earlier, Education Secretary Leonor Briones said a total of 90 public schools have been given approval to push through with the pilot run of face-to-face classes, which starts on 15 of November. She also said at least 20 private schools are being considered to begin the pilot run of face-to-face classes on November 22. To be included in the pilot run, concerned local governments and the parents of students should agree to participate. More than 90% of teachers and staff of schools tapped to conduct limited face-to-face classes have been fully inoculated against COVID-19, the Department of Education disclosed yesterday. The Education Department also reiterated that stringent preparations and protocols have been established to provide maximum protection for students and teachers. The Commission on Elections on Tuesday said there will be major changes on conducting political campaigns for next year's polls. In an online forum organized by Strat-based ADR Institute and Democracy Watch Philippines, Comelec spokesperson James Jimenez said candidates running for 2022 may have to modify how they will conduct their campaign. Jimenez, however, did not mention what the changes are, other than saying the public should just wait for the campaign guidelines expected to be released before the end of the month. In May, Jimenez said there will be still face-to-face campaigning but with restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said the poll body believes that it will not be totally prohibited as many candidates have no access to different types of information dissemination. Meanwhile, Jimenez reported the recently conducted voter simulation at San Juan Elementary School had a low voter turnout. They were hoping to have 4,000 actual voters, but only had around 11% voter turnout. That was very low, he said. Jimenez said the simulation is not expected to be a high attendance activity, but nevertheless, the simulation exercise was important because it allowed them to perform a dry run for the rolling out of the 2022 elections. He said the present number of voters is already almost 63 million, where over 4 million are first-time voters. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Boto mo to Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. The local government of Cebu City announced that it has allowed minors aged 15 years old and below to go out and enter establishments in the city, provided that they are accompanied by fully vaccinated parents or guardians. The local government unit said that it was part of the provisions in the released Directive 10-2501, which set the guidelines for the implementation of the Alert Level 2 quarantine status in the city. It added that minors need not be accompanied for purposes of obtaining essential goods and services. With the eased age restrictions, it is expected that more people will troop to malls, restaurants, sports centers, and venues, multipurpose venues, tourist attractions, libraries, museums, galleries, personal care establishments, and houses of worship. Mall and cinema operators, however, will need to get a certificate of approval on their plans before they can operate again and should submit the necessary requirements, including contingency and action plans to ensure the implementation of health protocols. The general rule for establishments is 50% indoor capacity for vaccinated individuals and 70% outdoor capacity for everyone. Other recreational facilities that can already operate in the city include pools, amusement parks, fun fairs and ferias, even karaoke bars, clubs, and concert halls. The directive reiterated that workers of authorized establishments must be fully vaccinated to ensure the safety of both staff and customers. And curfew has been adjusted to start at 11:30 p.m. to 4 a.m. daily. And that wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, Araneta Center, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista, and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning!
Boto mo to Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.